Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of I Am Legion for Dying Light 1 and 2. My name is Jason, the creator of the mod, and I wanted to release another quick video. Sorry for all the rapid fire updates that have been coming out this weekend, but I wanted to make sure to get the mod to a good stable place. I'm going to have to step away from the mod for a little bit over the next week, but I did want to try to get in as many updates as possible so that you guys can continue to enjoy the game and these latest updates. So I did want to cover very quickly, the last time I did a video on the mod config, the 1.2 version of the mod config video is still the best resource to use to try to identify how many different systems are in the mod config and how to use them. But I very quickly want to cover some of the latest systems that have been added as of 1.3H2. And so that way you guys are just kind of aware. I didn't get a chance to get in as many comments, but I also want to make you guys aware of, once again, this config is there. There's lots of great options for configuring this mod how you want it. And I have noticed a very large increased number of people coming back to the community that are having these bugs and consistent little issues. I think more and more of that is where users are finally coming back to Dying Light 2 with all this great new content. But because they're going on the Nexus mods, they're getting some outdated mods that are rated the top, all-time best rated mods. A lot of those mods, you need to check the actual release date to see when those were released, because they can actually end up breaking your save games and the game overall pretty severely, and you won't catch it until you start to get some weird bugs in your system. And the amount of save games that I've been receiving where things are just not quite right with the save game in vanilla is going up. And so I just wanted to let you guys know I am continuing to try to identify the need inside the game, what people want to customize. I get it. So I am trying to identify those as we go. So I've added 3 new systems with this latest update. I believe these are the most commonly requested things. So again, another quality of life update so that you guys can continue to enjoy the mod and also modify the system how you want. So let's go ahead and get started. The first is going to be the loot system. With the loot system, I basically went in, so you're going to need to scroll all the way down here to the loot system. Let's start with the loot system. Basically, I tried to keep this one as simple as possible, where it is affecting actually 2 different files. It's affecting the item sets and then the default loot. But what I've done is just try to inject the amount modifier. So for example, if you ever have a value that says like a range from 0 to 1, so if you're likely to draw an object, if every time you run through and you loot an item in the game, and it's going to either give you 0 or 1, that range can be now modified by going here to the minimum amount of 0. So right now it's all set to defaults on all 3 difficulties, but if you do want to try to go in here and modify this and make it, to where you can get more loot across the different types, I don't have this set to where it's going to be by type or anything like that just yet. It is a very long, huge file. It's very difficult to mess with and it's very easy to break. So because of this, for this first part of it, it's just increasing the values of loot that you can get, and that's just kind of generally applied to everything in the game. So for example, if you have something that is going to give you a possible amount of 0 to 1, that max amount of 1 and min amount of 0, you can modify this to where it will always give you at least 1. So if you want to get rid of that idea of the empty containers and the different things, this is not foolproof. So some things as you go across the world will still give you empty results, but I'm just letting you know I am trying to boost the probability of getting those items so that you can very quickly start to get more of those items without having to heavily modify the game or go into the individual loot trees. So say for example it's 0 to 1, we can go in here and set this to 2, and etc, etc. You can just kind of go and set each one of these slightly higher. So that's going to double your rates essentially inside the game. You're more likely to get more loot this way, and if you want, I have not checked out like the min and the max values here to see what will break the game. I have gone to 2 digits and that seemed to work, but just know I think in the loot system the highest I've seen it go is really like a value of 100, and that's for cash. But that being said, I think some of them I have actually seen in the thousands. So perhaps you could go in here and actually say, 0 to 200. Give it a shot. I don't know. Good luck. play around with that to your heart's content. Let me know how it goes. I am interested to see how that goes for you guys, but you know, I didn't try to break the system quite that bad yet. So I'm going to go ahead and return these values. So that's just a basic boost system so that you'll get more loot throughout the world, and you won't have to go use any, you know, outdated mods that are available on the Nexus and end up messing up your mod or have to do merge conflicts, all that good stuff. The next is going to be the trade system. So I know this is another big one that a lot of people have mentioned for a while now, is that the trader, it had this weird balance to where if you went to the harder difficulties, you couldn't actually sell your armor and your weapons at quite the same values. What I've done is gone in and set all of these things to a standard. So there is now a standard value applied across all difficulties. And what you can do is on your side, you can go in and now set these values to whatever you want them to be. So if you want, for example, ranged weapons to actually have their standard value, all you have to do is go in here and set this to 1. And so that should now apply a standard value. What you bought it for is what you'll sell it for. I've added a couple other things. I'm still trying to test this out. I don't know if they hooked it up for any other parts inside the game, but they do have this one very interesting modifier that basically makes it to where outfits get sold at a lesser price. It's kind of its own standalone outfit part modifier. I've gone ahead and pulled that up to 100%, so you're no longer getting that 0.25, so that should help a lot of you. I know a lot of people have been complaining about how armor is, A, you couldn't sell it, and B, its prices were garbage. I've also added this new system here, so they had this set to where I'm still trying to learn about this system, because basically any weapon that has a modifier added to it, the default says is that it now becomes half price. Based on that modifier, but I'm not sure if I understood that correctly. So the 0.5 is in there. I've upped it to 1.5. So if you start to see weird things with modified weapons, sorry, still learning about the system to understand, you know, to me, I wanted to make it to where weapons that are modified actually cost a little bit more, but they also sell for more. So if you start to find them in the world, you can actually turn them in to get more value out of them. But please let me know how that system goes. If I've got that wrong, you can always adjust this in the config, and please let me know and I'll get it in the next update. Next is going to be the Lockpick system. I know a large number of people are also, so sadly the way this game is modified, you know, one-line files where people are changing one line in a system actually will end up breaking lots of systems because of the way the mods are set up. If they're outdated, they have old values, whatever it is, this will continuously break your game as you continue to go, and that could jeopardize your save game. So for the Lockpick system, I went ahead and added this to the config as well. These are all set to default values, so I don't have any reason to change these yet. I think the lockpicking is actually pretty solid. Dying Light 1 was a little bit harder with the lockpicking in my opinion, but if you want to go in here and, for example, change the actual required break skill, you know, the required skill levels, you can go in and set these to 0. If you want to reduce the number of fast break locks, if you want to reduce the time that it takes to actually do the fast break, there's a lot of things you can do in here, including the amount of range for unlocking the locks. So for example, if you didn't want to just like break the locks, but you wanted to make all locks be immediately able to be turned, I think that range is going to be around 90. So if you set the range up to like 60, 70, something like that, you could probably very easily get in there and then rotate that lock without actually having to try. So there's a couple of different things you want to do here if you want to actually modify the system, again, without having to install additional mods. I know the mod as an overhaul is starting to take up a lot more mod slots, so I am, or data pack slots rather, and so because of that, I am trying to reduce that overhead to make that a little bit easier on you guys, to where you can just get in the game, enjoy the values that you want to set, and continue to roll with those as the updates come, because I will have to continue to update these files as we go. That is the challenge that I'm already having to do because I've modified so many files. I'm already having to update everything, so I am trying to kind of pace myself with the amount of things I put in this config. But I hope these help. I hope these go a long way. In addition, some additional things, just so you guys are aware, the additional fixes, I was able to fix the bows. So there was I was trying to add the ability to repair weapons, ended up messing up the bows, and so on that last release the bows were acting weird. I have fixed that since then. Additionally, some of the night infected and the interior infected, the values were set. There's like this range to where if you go below 5 kind of thing, they never spawn. So I did adjust those. So those should start to show back up inside the world. Sorry for that oversight. And then in addition, there's just been some other minor fixes based on feedback. Again, thank you guys for the support. Continue to let me know what you're seeing on that side. We'll continue to get hotfixes in. I'm going to have to step away, as I mentioned, for about a week, but I'll be coming back and looking for all this great feedback. Thank you guys so much. And I did want to mention while I've got this main menu up, several people have been reporting that the game doesn't look different or they don't understand if the mod works. Again, based on the front page, the manual, these videos, all you have to do is highlight this banner in the bottom left corner, and that should show you the latest version that's active along with the version of the mod. So I usually don't put the hotfix numbers at the end of this, but as I go by letter, this will update. So continue to keep an eye on that. Continue to make sure your mod's updated and compatible with the latest version. Stay ever vigilant. Hope you guys enjoy the mod. Thank you guys so much for your support and feedback, and I look forward to talking to you next time.